typical Grant fashion, I remove one too many parts by accident from Project Ford Fairmont and create more work for myself. If you caught the last episode of Car Guy and Six Fan Show, you know, the gold standard automotive YouTube live stream that's out there. Yeah, that one. Well, I told a little story about how I got in a conundrum with the vacuum control modulator, trying to do some more investigative work, and well, this episode today is all about the mess I got myself into. And well, hey, if this is your first time meeting me, I'm Grant Tommy. This is Straight Six Fan, your home for offbeat hot rodding. And yeah, as the intro stated, I accidentally removed one too many pieces by accident, and well, let me show you how that happened. Okay, today is Friday, and this is my lunch break that I'm out here working. And well, earlier this week, on the advice of a buddy of mine, he suggested I pull the vacuum control modulator out. As you guys know, I'm still missing drive on Project Ford Fairmont, but pull the vacuum control modulator out, find the pin, take the pin, and he said push it into the transmission side and see if there's good enough spring action. Feel for spring action. So, of course, did not put the car up on jack stands, and I'm up there underneath the car, laying on my back, trying to blind feed this into the hole and trying to just hit what I'm supposed to hit to see if there's spring action. Well, the push rod itself is not all too much longer than that recess. And what I successfully did was, well, I fed this through a hole that then it dropped out of my hands and into the transmission pan. Which, if today is all about cleaning up messes, well, then I suppose it's appropriate that we start by cleaning off the transmission pan. This thing, as you can tell, it had been leaking fluid for quite some time. I suspect through the gasket, because the transmission pan is just filthy. But thanks in part to the fine folks at Super Clean. As you know, earlier in the year they sent over a pack of their cleaning supplies. So we're going to try to hit this with the degreaser of theirs and see what happens. I'm going to use the spray-on version. I think is going to be our best candidate here today, as opposed to the aerosol can one. But I don't believe I featured this particular product on the channel yet, so excited to see how well it works. We're going to douse this thing in the degreaser, and we're going to get this cleaned up before we even consider reinstalling. But of course, before we get to that point, before we degrease this transmission pan, I guess I should finish the story I started to tell. And that is, well then, how did you remove one too many parts by simply dropping the modulator pin in the transmission pan? Well, I didn't know at the time. I actually fed it through an orifice to get it into the transmission pan. So I was like, you know what? My fingers are probably going to push this thing in the wrong way. I probably won't have enough room to grasp and pull that pin out. So what did I do? I went straight for my magnet and stuck the magnet in, and I don't feel anything, don't feel anything, don't feel anything. Then it kind of bottoms out and I hear this hard clicking sound. And I can tell I've got something, so I pull it out, and well, out from the valve body was what I showed you in the intro screen. I'm not exactly sure, I'm not no transmission expert, but as I understand it's some governor of some sort. Anyway, I think it has something to do, it's kind of related to throttle. I don't know, again, that's for the likes of John Wilburn to leave a comment down below and correct me where I'm wrong. But so we gotta get this back in the car, and I'm gonna do that, of course, before I put the transmission pan back on, so I don't end up in the same scenario I did. But I gotta get this in first, and then we'll try to push. As you see, this is the receiving end of the modulator pin, but we're gonna push this thing in. In theory, there should be a spring, hopefully still in place, in the transmission that this meets up to, and we're going to see if we can push in, see if there's a good play. But anyway, let's get to cleaning the transmission pan. Okay, here we are, Sunday, the usual day, and, well, transmission pan turned out really nice. I did, however, switch over on the Super Clean to the aerosol spray for the inside, and it was actually watching it foam up, and then I had it tilted, slowly pulling the sludge down. It worked great. So I guess where I'm at right now is the part where, I'll be honest, I'm scared as hell to be into my transmission. So I got to crawl back under the car, and I bought a new gasket kit, of course. I'm going to change the filter while I'm down there. Now I did create a little more work for myself because, well, the transmission pan was just too easy of a spot to know if I could put everything and not lose it. But it does appear there isn't enough. I don't know if this is going to show up on the screen of the filter that this is at least a worthwhile task, is to replace this guy. But the throttle pressure limit valve is this. So just this little doodad here and a spring. So we got to get that fed back into place as we put the new filter in, and yeah, we'll just we'll touch base again when we get there. This little tab is what holds that retainer spring in. But one other thing I've noticed between the old filter and the new filter is, well, the new filter came with a gasket. The old one did not have one on, and it's not stuck to the transmission still, so I don't know, but it seems like the safer move, if they provided one, to go ahead and install it. Alright, so I'm at a tiny bit of a crossroads here. Took this all apart and found nothing, you know, but hey, it's not for naught, because that transmission pan gasket was ridiculously bad. It was a cork gasket, so we're going to get a new one put on. Filter looked like it wasn't a waste of time to change. So both the flanges of the transmission pan and the underside of the transmission, a little bit of, like, tiny bit of surface rust, so we got the surfaces cleaned off. So hopefully we'll at the very least have stopped the transmission leak problem that I had. But yeah, I don't know where to go from here. I think we're going to try the hand pump, the vacuum pump option, but I don't know. We'll, I'm a little worried that it's just a matter of tightening or loosening the screw of the vacuum control modulator this whole time. I don't know. I'm still chasing that down a little bit, but I guess at the very least I gotta go grab the torque wrench so we can get the transmission pan gasket back on. The Chilton's manual says to torque to 12 to 16 foot-pounds, so we'll split that difference. We'll set it at 14 and some change. You know, something that low you could probably get away with just hand tightening, but just for consistency, I guess, we'll use the torque wrench. Alright, if for nothing else, I can now take the car off of the jack stands. And what we're left with now is just filling it back up with transmission fluid. I do have to go run to O'Reilly's, pick up some more. But while I was there earlier this week, I picked up this thing of lube guard. That, well, the only reason I picked this up, you know, I might say snake oil or whatever, but Pony 1992 on his wife's Nova with the Turbo 350 had similar issues, and supposedly this stuff is supposed to help free up, you know, the little balls in the valve body or something. So I figured won't hurt, but I'm going to mix it with the transmission fluid so I can keep track of, I'm down to a little under a half quart here on this stuff. and I'm supposed to put 3 quarts in, so I'm going to dump this in here first, see how much I got, and then I'll know how much to buy. Well, as soon as I filled this up with that friction modifier, I read on the package it said do not use with Ford Type F fluid, and then made it to the old Chilton's manual, and what do I see? I'm supposed to use Type F fluid, so that's cool. Just kind of wasted that. But this also means I probably need to try a little harder for looking for fluid when I'm at O'Reilly's, because this is more of a Dexron 3 blend, and it's their own fluid, so hey, it sucks, but glad I caught it. Well, I followed the instructions of the Chilton's manual to a T, and said let the motor warm up to operating temp, run it through all gears, check the fluid, did all that, fluid's fine. But now it seems as though the transmission is slipping, so here we go. I'm going to put it into drive, reverse, neutral, drive. Oh, actually that engaged sooner than I thought. And it works, but I can't find, it's like reverse wusses out on me. So I don't know. It made things worse than making things better, but that was neutral, by the way, which you just saw. Okay, reading the interwebs, I guess the Chilton's manual could have been a little more descriptive, because it says they want you to put 3 quarts in initially, and then, you know, get it up to operating temps and check the dipstick, and then add from there. And so the interwebs say anywhere from like 5.5 to 9 to 11 quarts. So all dependent on if your torque converter is empty, which I don't know if mine, I would suspect mine wouldn't be. Like even though I had the pan off for like 3 days, like I don't think that fluid would get out of the torque converter, but I don't know enough to say one way or the other. But yeah, so it's probably just low on fluid, so that would make sense. And so we're gonna go back to O'Reilly's here before too long, and keep on keeping on. Went back to O'Reilly's, and they only had 2 more quarts of Type F transmission fluid, so that means we can only get 5 in here tops, but I'm at 4 quarts and it's already much better. Reverse right away, drive right away. So we're gonna let it keep idling here. I'm gonna check it again and see if we're at a decent level. All right, we got about 4 3/4 quarts in, and dipstick was reading not quite 100% full. I just don't want to overfill it now, you know, we'll go on the opposite end. Anyway, it's still the 1-2 shift is doing what it had always done, kind of build up shift. And so we're about ready to take it out and see if we get third, but I'm guessing because first to second did what it did, second to third's gonna do what it's always done. See, there it goes. But I'm gonna keep backing off that modulator until see if we can't figure this out. Probably not gonna happen today. I've got some ribs on the smoker I need to tend to, so yeah, we will. Here we go. See if we can't get third gear. 1, 2. Well, like I said, we tried something. It didn't quite work the way we thought it would. Not a big deal. I'm no worse than I was before. But I do have a new transmission pan gasket in, a new ATF, all new fluid, the right stuff, and a new transmission pan filter. So, yeah, well, I was going to do some shout outs this episode. But like I said, I'm running out of time here on Sunday, so this is where it ends. And well, if you want to check out some other videos of mine, I will leave some over here for you to check out. But otherwise, to all my 6 fans out there, thanks for watching.